I just don't think
you're making me homesick.
I just don't think there was an issue with him talking about violence. You know, that's just me though. Maybe I'm just a violent person, but I thought your comments was very appropriate. In this day and age, I feel like that it's always good to people.
That's all I need is a DM. So you want to be a fool? Okay, I'm gonna find out where you live. He said, matter of fact, for just DM, won't you come to my house and receive this gift card?
You won.
You won.
I can't wait to give you your present.
Wait to give you your gift.
It's the Bishop
and Oz.
Glad to be back once again.
Yes.
And
one
more again.
Mm-hmm.
And we're excited about this day, and we're excited about our guest on today. This has been someone we've been trying to get on here for a while, and our schedules are what they are.
Yeah.
But glad that she was able to make time for us today. And this is a very special individual to both of us, but I would say more special to one than to the other. And Oz, let us know why she's more special to you.
She is more special to me because this is my wife, Idella Cockrell, better known as Beloved. I named her that because don't be
the whole gun.
Don't be you don't mess up what we got going on, man.
Ain't this something?
You can tell we married, can't you? You can tell. I want to fight him, but I can't.
I'm not scared.
But in any case, this is my beloved wife, Idella Cockrell. We have been together for what? Go ahead, come on, because I know you.
19 years.
19 years and married for.
It'll be 17 years in December.
Yes. And how many kids we got?
6.
Mm-hmm. And they all belong to
2 grandbabies.
Yeah. Y'all praying? Because I need it. Jerry don't help me with none of these kids. I'm sorry. Oh, the bishop don't help me with none of these kids. He don't.
I don't help. I'm just the uncle that shows up and looks at them and then leaves. Because that's just what I do.
Now, except for one though.
Yeah,
you
know.
don't really.
And she enough.
Yeah, I pray for them.
True.
But yes, we were grateful that Idella is here on today with us, and so with that, we have a conversation that we want to have today that is pretty heavy.
Yes, it is.
And we want to put a disclaimer out there that this may not be for younger viewers.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that this is a conversation that needs to be had, but we would rather the parent have it with the child than having us be the ones to have it.
So with a disclaimer, what age range are we talking? Definitely no older than 10.
Yeah, I would wish, 12, 13, maybe start there and up that they'd be able to watch this. But not that we're going to be out here being vulgar or anything like that, but it's just a heavy conversation. I just feel like as parents, there are certain conversations that you need to have with your children.
Yes.
And not the internet or the World Wide Web of people that you don't know.
Yeah.
But it's because you like, share, and subscribe.
All the time.
And so we probably are safe. But I'm just saying, for future reference, you don't want everybody just... But anyways, today we want to deal with the topic of pornography.
Yes.
Dealing with pornography. And it's a very uncomfortable topic because you have a lot of people out there that's dealing with it and don't want to tell the truth about it.
Yeah.
You got people in the business world dealing within the church world. It's something that, people consider very dirty. And, I would never. But the truth is, how many people haven't?
Mm-hmm.
And especially, it's so easy to get a hold to.
Yeah. And if you think about it, it's not just you searching out a certain video.
No.
There's movies out there that have full-blown, nudity. Men and women. So that is considered pornography as well. So
our commercials nowadays
are
borderline.
Yeah.
You know, you be they used to have one commercial, I won't say who the company was, but the woman be in the shower making all kind of noises. And if you looking down, you thinking they in here watching some kind of and it's a commercial for a shampoo company.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
this is the day and age we live in. Everything is sexualized.
Everything.
Even eating a hamburger.
Yes. Yes.
Eating a hamburger is sexualized.
Can't even. That's horrible.
Yeah.
In slow motion.
In slow motion.
Talking about the ketchup dripping. Why can't I eat a hamburger?
And just let it be a hamburger.
You know, no, I got to. You got to see. Ooh, the mayo is everywhere.
You know.
Anyways, but yeah. But we brought Idella on here, just to have this discussion. And what Della? I'll go with the first question. What are some of your thoughts as far as how people deal with this pornography?
For myself, I've been good for almost 3 years now, but it is a constant daily battle because you have access.
Yeah.
Easy access. And I've gone so far as to put precautions on my phone and passcodes that I won't remember. Wow. So that I'm not as easily to give into it. So I think it just, I also do, even though like I'm good now, I found in the Bible app, there are literal devotionals for porn addiction.
Ah.
And so I intentionally do one every 6 months just to keep myself from being tempted. So
what do you think it starts at? As far as even wanting to watch, I know you're curious, and then you might come across your face. But how does that develop? How would you say that develops into a full blown addiction?
It's different for everybody. For myself, I was 10 years old the first time I saw pornography, and growing up, when you're in a environment and you have a lot of uncles, things happen. Things take place that should never take place. So for myself, I was 10 years old the first time I seen it. I was 10 years old when I was molested, and it just kind of started from there. So
just piggyback off of you, I remember when I first got exposed to it, I was in my, I would say about 10, 11. Mm-hmm. Had the older cousin, come through and tell you that, look at this. Matter of fact, I can go back further. We was in 3rd grade. Oh. I was in 3rd grade. I was living in Rockford, Illinois, and my buddies would they used to fill up the pop machine after school, so we had to go out that way. My buddies would grab one of the pops before they would fill it up and steal it, and then another one would grab his older brother's magazines, and we would sit in the back of the bus, sitting there looking at these magazines and drinking our stolen pops like we was grown. Mm-hmm. And I mean, thinking about it right now, we didn't really understand it. Yeah. It didn't hit me more until my cousin started showing me the videos. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, ooh. Yeah. Look at her. Yeah. And so, and that's how for me, that's where it started in.
No, and I'm not trying to say, well, I guess it is a shame, but it's a shame you got 3 different people up here from 3 different backgrounds, and all of us got a similar story, how we started watching porn. And I can remember sitting in my uncle's room, because I had an uncle that was 4 years older than me. And I remember sitting in the room with him, and he like, hey, y'all, come in and watch this. And we like, what? He popped this tape in VHS, and we mesmerized and thinking, oh, man, this is what it is. This is what we supposed to do, And then you take that thought and that mentality into your growner years. And then honestly, it degrades a loving sexual relationship if you allow it to. it gives you a fantasy that ain't real.
That's very true.
You know what I mean? It's like, and that's not even remotely close to what having a sexual relationship with your wife or your husband.
That's
the way it's supposed. You just okay. Back to the subject. We fight like this all the time. It's okay, but
It's just him. It's not me.
But you know what? Seriously, the pornography will have you having expectations that ain't real.
That's not real. Not yeah.
You know, you supposed to last 3 hours because it was a 3-hour tape. You know, and if you don't last 3 hours, you ain't doing it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, I can even go to the movies. You know, you see movies that have a passionate kiss here, and you know, you see a thrust there that looks so loving and so passionate and it's just like that's not even remotely close to what it is. It's a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong, but that's not what it is. I mean, if we keeping it all the way real, sometimes you mess up stuff. Sometimes it don't go the way you want it to. But this is the fantasy that keeps people addicted to pornography.
Pornography perverts the beautiful aspect of sex.
Yes.
And it makes what God made dirty.
Mm-hmm.
When was sex dirty? Especially when it's between the husband
and then, it ain't never been dirty.
You know,
Jesus didn't ever say it was dirty.
No.
He just simply said to have it in the right perspective.
Yeah.
He said, don't fornicate, don't commit adultery, be with your husband and be with your wife. That's all he said. But he never said sex was wrong.
No.
He created it.
Hello?
But
it's a beautiful. It's almost like our relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you know, people may not like this analogy, but think about it. We always asking him to come in.
Mm-hmm.
We are the bride of Christ.
Amen.
What will a husband do to a bride?
Hello.
He's supposed to come in. When he does, something develops in us and is birthed out.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
That's a husband-wife relationship.
Yeah.
When it's right. You know?
When it's right.
And so, but you got, you know, people.
Now I'm gonna go even deeper. Now I did a small study on when a husband and wife have been together so long that the wife he actually begins to change her DNA because they've been together so long. And you catch what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all been together so long that your DNA, her DNA begins to change because y'all being with each other. And it's just like that's the way Christ is. He comes into us so long that our DNA starts to change. We get reborn.
Our very nature.
Yeah. We get reborn, as the word says, you know. But I think this world has taken something that God created beautiful and made it something ugly in a sense. You know, we live in a generation where I can meet you on the internet.
Oh my, yeah.
And we can hook up and that's it. And then to act like you don't mean nothing after that.
No.
And it better be good or I'm putting it all out there.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the biggest, as a woman, the first time I put my story out there, it was in a church setting. And in the church, the talk of sex is so taboo.
Yes.
That, like we were in it was all couples, and I made the comment, and you could hear a pin drop. You could see people looking at me kind of like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. And so that made me not want to share my story with anybody. It made me not want to talk to anybody because I'm like, if I can't bring it to this forum, so to speak, and ask for help without mm-hmm. being looking at crazy, then it shuts you down. So I found a group on Facebook, and it's called She Recovery. And this is a group of women, multiple, and I mean millions of women who all struggle with pornography.
Wow. So then it's not just a man thing.
No.
It's not just
absolutely
because the world would make it seem like not only men
nope.
deal with that, mess with that, look at that, and are horny toads and always mm-hmm. want to do something. So it also crosses the line.
This is millions of women who struggle with it. some of the stories I've heard, some of the women I've talked to, their husbands either got them into it and they stopped watching it and the wife couldn't stop.
Mm.
Some of these women have been raped. Some of these women have been molested. Some of these women have like things like life happens. And when life happens and you don't have anybody to help you deal with those things when they happen, then you find your own vices. And porn addiction is like any other addiction. It's like drugs. It's like drinking. It's a chemical imbalance in the brain. And it's one of those things where it is a physical fight daily. It's a mental fight because we have easy access. And so I think just as a woman and not having people that I considered close to me to hold me accountable to ask me, hey, are you okay right now? Like, do you can I pray? Any of things like I didn't have that. And for a lot of women, the misconception is people think that we want to watch it because we're not attracted to our husbands. Or, we're looking for something else. I can wholeheartedly say with every fiber of my being, a lot of the time it has nothing to do with that. Because I personally have found myself a few years ago watching it like I'm watching cartoons.
Wow.
No, like there's no gratification. There's not, like, I'm just watching. And it that was the moment where I was like, okay, Lord. I was literally like, what is wrong with me? And I had started to pray and and I had to do it on my own because one, it's embarrassing. And I did not want my husband to feel like he was less than a man or that I wasn't attracted to him or that I didn't love him or didn't want to be with him because of this addiction that I had. So I began to ask the Lord, like, what's wrong with me? Clearly something ain't right. And the one thing he showed me and he told me was that you've been praying all these years and asking for all this help, but not once have you asked me to take the temptation away from you.
All right.
And that was like a slap in the face because I hadn't even realized that while I'm praying, I didn't ask him to show me where that wounded little girl was with the trauma of being molested and the trauma of grown men who, at the time, I was a little girl. And these grown men would see me as an adult and would make comments like, I've been watching you since you were a child. Or I post pictures on Facebook, my birth mom, one of her exes, girl, you look just like your mom. You're so this, you're so that. And that is, so it's one of those things where that's where, for me, I know that some of the temptation started from because you have older people lusting after you. You have seen it at the wrong age. And then I came into my marriage. I came into my relationship with a brown box full of pornography, thinking there was something wrong with my husband because he didn't have any.
Wow.
Like, that is crazy. And my husband was the first person to put it in perspective for me because he was like, what if that was our daughter?
Wow.
Or one of our sons? And then I'm disgusted because now I'm like, okay, that's gross. And that's when the change started to happen for me. It still took time. It still took years. We've been married, as you heard, it'll be 17 years in December. And almost 3 years now that I have been able to get a handle and a hold on it. And I've been embarrassed and ashamed to tell my husband because I didn't want him to think any less of me or him to think that I'm not attracted to him anymore or anything like that. Because the biggest thing I think most people need to understand with any addiction, it has nothing to do for the most part with our love for our families, because it has nothing to do with it. It's literally a struggle and a fight daily when you want to stay clean, and that's from any addiction.
Yeah. So would you say in order to get to make that first step, would you say it's admitting, or is it, what is it that would, I guess what is it that would help you take that first step towards walking away from it?
I think the first thing you have to be willing to say you have a problem with. I think that's the first step for anything. Like if you are walking around delusional and not being honest with yourself, it's easy to think that the problem is everybody else but you. So I think the first step should be admit, and let me say, I am no means I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor. I just know it worked for me. And it was one, admitting I had a problem. Two, admitting to my spouse I had a problem, which was very hard to do. And three, asking for help. And when I couldn't get that help in the setting that I thought I would get it, I found a group of women who were going through the same thing that I was going through, and has literally helped me, sent me, material to read, sent me links to certain videos, sent me Bible scriptures to help me, because they've all been where I was.
So tell me this. What about the one that don't see nothing wrong with it?
I mean, I'm not hurting nobody. I mean, I'm not out there doing drugs. I'm not no alcoholic. I mean, what I do is in the privacy of my own home, in my own room, in my own space. I'm not affecting you. I'm not taking your money. I'm not doing nothing. So what is so wrong with this?
You're harming yourself.
How?
Because you're giving yourself a expectation that's not real. You're gonna go out there and you're gonna get with a man or a woman, and you're gonna put these expectations on them that are unfair. You're gonna put these expectations on them that, because that's what you like, it's what you've seen, it's what you've been watching all this time. So clearly there's nothing wrong, and that's where you're wrong, because you will literally expect your spouse or significant other to do the things that you have been watching. And that is where I think again, you have to learn your triggers, which is no different from any other addiction. Learn your triggers. Because again, people think I'm not sexually satisfied by my spouse, I'm not happy or whatever, and that's not it. It could be loneliness, it could be boredom, it could be any of those things. Being by yourself in your room, that's boredom, that's sometimes depression. And so how can I find a way to make me happy?
Yeah.
So
because everybody's looking for some type of dopamine.
Exactly. And that's literally what it is.
And that's exactly what it is. That's an overdose of dopamine.
Yeah.
An unhealthy overdose.
Yeah. And go ahead. Well, let me say this too, to the spouses that got a spouse that is dealing with this. As she said, we've been married for 17 years. I did not discard my wife. I did not make her feel stupid. I did not make her feel like she was less than. I treated her as a husband should, and I loved her the way I should have. I did. That's not the way to handle it, because when we took those vows, we said for rich or poor, through sickness and in health. That was a sickness she was dealing with.
Yep.
So no, don't throw away your spouse because he or she is dealing with that. You love them back to health.
Yes.
Okay, those is when your marriage is tested the most. When somebody gets sick, when you are poor, when those hard times come, love them back into where the place both of y'all want to be. Don't push them aside or discard them, and then say, well, and then act like you better than and you moving on, because that's not what marriage is. Marriage ain't moving on one person; it's moving on together. So,
and no matter the addiction, especially if it's pornography, understand that it's a real addiction. Just because it's not drugs or alcohol does not mean what that person is going through isn't real. It's real for them. It's real to them. It is their issue. And I say it all the time, coming from my background, having a mother, my birth mother was a drug addict and an alcoholic. And God rest her soul, she got right before she passed away. But she died of AIDS and cancer because of the lifestyle she chose to live. With that also caused me to deal with the traumas that I didn't even realize I hadn't dealt with. So understand that there are things that happen that will put a person on the path to that addiction, regardless to what it is. So,
Wow, I hope y'all soaking this in. Now, I already knew all this stuff, but it's good. It's good for y'all to be able to hear this and understand now,
especially from a woman's perspective,
and from a Christian woman's perspective. That even though we proclaim Christ, we still struggle with stuff. We still go through things. We still feel hurt. We still feel pain. We ain't just stale to the world.
Yeah,
we still go through all this stuff. We still deal with addictions and temptations. It's always gonna be there.
And you need a place that you can go to where you can tell somebody that this is happening with you.
Yeah.
And not always try to walk around with these S's on our chest.
Trying to tell you.
There's so many people walking around with S's on their chest and they're struggling, kryptonite in their back pocket.
Hello.
They're dying and they don't, I'm gonna die looking strong, but really weak.
Yep. And I made it a happen in my life. When I ask somebody, how you doing? I look at them and go, no. How you doing?
Yeah.
Because you don't know, man. You don't know.
It could be your last conversation with them.
The last.
And
last. Or you could be the one that pulls them back from the edge.
Yeah.
The man, ask people how they doing and mean it. Not don't settle for the cliche. I'm okay.
I'm blessed.
Cause I'm blessed. And half the time folks ain't.
No, they struggling.
Their money look good, their clothes look good, but in here,
tore up.
In here, all messed up.
And that's when you have to go back and deal with the trauma of your childhood. You gotta find, and it may not even be your childhood, just the trauma of how did I get here?
Yes.
What happened? What have I forgotten about? What have I buried to get me to this point? Because for me, even though all of that stuff happened, I knew the biggest point for me was when I told my mother that someone was hurting me and she did nothing. And it took me a long time to realize that's when it started. Because I told her someone was harming me and she was either too high or drunk to do anything about it.
See, now y'all know why I call her beloved. Because to deal with all that and still be able to have that beauty of a smile, to me, that's all God. All God, man. Because the word would say she would be out there in the streets doing all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know where I'm going. Just having sex with anybody, giving a body away for money. And she didn't do none of those things. Instead, God placed us together. She was able to put her trust in a man that wasn't even qualified to be her leader, trusted him. And here we are now, 17 years later, 6 kids, 2 grandkids, living it up. God is good.
He's faithful.
He
is. And so, whatever your story is, whatever your background is, don't sit there and think it's too bad to where God can't fix me, where God can't heal me.
Yes.
I'm done. I've done too much.
Walking testimony.
You ain't done so much that God can't reach you. He can reach you wherever you are, but you have to be willing to ask him for the help.
That's right.
And that, that's why we're here. This is why we tell these stories, because we know a God that's able to help you even in your worst situations.
Yes.
And it ain't, I don't care if it's pornography, I don't care if it's meth, I don't care if it's cocaine, I don't care what it is. He's able to heal you if you give it over to him.
Yes.
And you have to be willing to do that.
Yes.
Anyways, this has been a great episode.
Man,
and I hope you have taken something from this. I hope you we say like, share, and subscribe. Really share this with somebody.
Yes.
Make sure you watch it over again, because you may be the one struggling.
Yeah.
If you need to find some place that you can talk, people you want to talk to, inbox us.
Yes.
We'll get you to the right people that will help you with these situations. She was talking about groups. We can get you the name of those groups that are out there to help you. That's not going to sit there and tell you what you're doing is okay. Yeah. But that's going to tell you how to get out of what you're in.
Hello.
That's what we want.
Yeah. Please inbox us, because you can talk to us too.
Yeah.
We got no problem with that.
But thank you so much for taking our time together and being with us.
Yes.
And so we're not going to fight right now. But when these lights go off, I ain't making no promises.
I ain't scared.
This been the Bishop.
And I.
We'll catch you next time. This is the Bishop.